This conference will now be recorded.
Yes. I was gonna say, your clothing. Without a doubt.
You get no argument.
No. I just. Yes, try it.
I know, right? Yeah.
Years of working in Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is.
Well, in your Hawaiian shirt and all of that,
Yeah,
you
just
know. Everybody else talking about, you know, it's cold. And you show up and I'm like, see? He's retarded. There's a problem.
Just gonna have one good election.
There you go.
Here comes trouble.
She's more than, I've seen you, I used to see you with the mustache, you look a lot neater.
How was your day?
A lot older. So a lot of things.
He's trying to.
He would look 10 years younger every time we were here.
Be able to buy a
Yeah.
Coke in the morning.
Everybody's like, are you keeping it? I was like, still, it starts bugging me and then I'll get rid of it. Black off. I didn't like the light color. That's all I wanted.
Be a little tan tonight.
It's cold, nobody wants to get in.
I know, right? They want to sit home, watch the ball game, order pizza. It's a nice stop. Oh, there you go. Take care of that. Just the thought.
Three minutes.
Oh, you know what? I don't even know if it's on, but.
Mine's probably not. 3:03.
Oh,
I left mine in the truck.
Always do. We're still even.
Well, he's smart.
I know, right?
Today I found one of those, you know, like those spider web things. It's like, I don't even know where they think I got it from.
Out of the corner of something. I don't
I have no idea where off the dog.
All right, yeah. All I heard was here.
Hair of the dogs. It's getting the throat. I'm not drinking in like 2 weeks. I'm just like.
We're gonna make up for it.
Sick.
Oh,
I've been sick and gone. I asked Colby.
Well, and I was.
6:30
For me, whenever
for
I'm
ambulance.
sick, it just
And I
makes me
reached out not getting it.
He said,
He sent it right away. Like, I'm so grateful. It's like, what?
Yeah, as soon as
So tell him I said thank you.
As soon as we get that stuff, like, I told Nancy and Kobe that one, I was like,
Thank you.
I pressed out, I'm like, well, I get those.
Yeah.
So, man, Saturday, when I got
So
there,
excited to
I gotta get out of the truck.
get it, like right away. So they didn't go, what do you need? What does it need? We don't get those.
Sorry, just.
Last month was like,
The parade.
remember we get like
Bad
125 to 150. October was like 262,000. So I think a lot of the catch up.
I think it is, that's what I was gonna say.
Catching up. Yeah, yeah. So,
Which is good,
Yeah.
because we were, how far behind?
there you go a little bit.
And with that account being low, it was.
It was, I was like, we needed this.
Well, they-
This account
they're
needed
pretty
this. And I think I still need to do your.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. I'm worried about
Because
that.
I know.
Oh, yes, I
And
still
so
need that too.
I put it on top of my, still remember in the morning, it kind of got buried under stuff that people had on my desk last week. I was like, oh wait, so that's.
Everybody
that's
ready?
fine.
Yeah,
Whenever it
because they
rolls.
were, they had asked.
I guess.
I
Yeah, but
can't.
it's going on. Yeah, that way you're in the.
Well, Kevin, first, are we good? Yes. We're close.
The renown.
Are you cold?
No.
Okay, that's Commissioner White.
Anxiety. Anxiety. A little bit.
Oh, there you go. Hey, if we can talk you into doing that, then I'll do right.
Step on your toe.
You got 6 rounds at least.
I know, right?
Have 5.
Maybe, hopefully,
You're in the
it's
head.
one of them, you know.
Better be better jump than that.
All
Mr.
right.
Mayor,
Oh.
Patrick said he might be a few minutes late, but he will be.
Okay, we'll start with that.
There's John.
There's Don. I'm gonna let Don. Good evening. All right, here we go. Call this regular session of the Lovington City Commission to order. Shannon, a roll call, please.
Mayor Roberts,
I'm here.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Here.
Commissioner Gandy,
Here.
Commissioner Bowe,
Here.
Commissioner White.
All right, if you'll join us in our invocation. Father God, we just take this time, we just want to say thank you so much. Not only for today, Father, which to me was beautiful weather, and we're so thankful for in the cooler time of year, or I am, but this is a season that we put forth as a time to hopefully say thank you and just acknowledge what you do for us. Father, we enter this world full of needs. We can't take care of ourselves. We can't protect ourselves. And Father, you furnish those needs. And as we grow older, we start to not look at what you've done for us, but what we want you to do for us. Father, we need to take the time and say, thank you for everything that you have provided, because we came in with nothing. We had no talents. We had nothing to give to this world, and you provide all of it. Father, during this time of Thanksgiving, sometimes the commerciality of it just becomes overwhelming. And Father, I just ask for this community that we take time to take a breath and just breathe out and say, thank you for everything that you have provided to us, to our community, and to our world. We get to live in the best country. We get to live in the best state and the best city. And Father, we may not always recognize that, but we choose to. And because of what you provided, those choices are available to us. Father, I ask that you be with this commission tonight as we look at the business of the city, and we hopefully have the wisdom that you provide to make good decisions that helps us move through this, the end of this year and into the next year. Father, we anticipate the season of your Son. Father, I hope that everyone takes the time to reflect on how important it was that he came to this world. Father, bless this meeting tonight and all that are attended and listen. Through Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
You'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the seat of symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. You may be seated. All right. We'll entertain a motion on the agenda.
I'm trying to get the tackiness out.
Okay.
So I was trying not to say, well said, Pastor.
Oh, well.
So, well said.
Hey, I want
Yeah, but he's not Paul.
Yeah, he's not your picture, that's for sure. So, Mr. Mayor, apologies for that, but Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for approval as the agenda as submitted.
I would like to second that, but on resolution 2024-112, the way the heading is, approve RFP for design of ADA sidewalks. I believe that needs to be changed unless it's
Mine says sidewalk.
Yeah, mine's okay.
Yeah,
Must be yours.
the resolution, the one that you signed.
Oh, that page. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just wanted to make sure that that was corrected before you put your signature
John
on it.
Henry.
Other than that, I second.
Okay.
Nice, good.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Shannon?
Is Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for consideration of the minutes for November 11th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. For the approval of the minutes, or adoption of the minutes. Any changes, any additions, corrections? Hearing none, Shannon?
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Mayor Waters,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
All right, let's do our commission staff report. Ms. Shannon, do you have anything this evening?
not at this time.
All right, thank you. That's about? Nothing to see, okay. Chief?
Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, our officer activity for the month of October will be seen in the City Manager's report. We're able to acknowledge Randy Pettigrew, Representative Randy Pettigrew, and thanking him for the assistance for acquiring the funding for our 5 new police units. And the awning project is moving forward. We were able to secure a structural engineer for this project. Hopefully, once he gets it drawn up, our projected date is January 15th for it to go out to bid. Before then, I'll bring it in front of the commission to show you all the picture of what it's supposed to look like. The K9 Loki was evaluated by our local K9 trainer. His opinion, he's not going to be able to be trained to be adopted for the public. And we reached out to a couple of different agencies, and he is not in a condition. Then we haven't found any takers. He was a K9 dog and a bite dog, and a lot of his teeth has fallen out due to him biting too much. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with him. Right now, he's out at the animal shelter. Lauren M's taking care of him. But just sitting there.
No.
That's all I have. I'll stand for questions.
Questions, Commissioner? I have one. Now that we've added this group of units, how do we stand on our force as far as new or fairly new?
They're the ones we have right now. We have one officer that's in a older unit, but we're still 6 behind, 6 understaffed.
Oh, okay. Not behind in units,
No.
but we would be if we had those positions.
Yes. So, I mean, obviously, every year I'd like to get at least 3, because by the time 5 years rolls around, you're already thinking about replacing that first set. I would say in probably 2 years, we'll start thinking about D units, admin units. So it's a struggle, but right now we're doing pretty good.
So we started last year-ish. We got 6. We got 5 the other day.
Yes, sir.
And by what you stated, if we were fully staffed, we would need 7. Is that correct?
Right.
Which is 18. So,
And our D units have about 60,000 miles on them.
how many of those do we have?
2.
So 20 plus admin.
Right. And Jackson, I'm not sure what his mileage is, but I want to say probably 40 or 50.
So in a 5-year rotation, we need to do at least 4 per year.
Yeah.
Approximately. Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Fire chief.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, so the audit from last year's fire protection fund was completed and approved by the state. We were found to be in compliance with all expenditures, and we get audited every year on that. So, I mean, we literally keep every documentation for everything. We are in the process right now of hiring 3 more employees to fill our last 3 positions. We have 1 more that will test tomorrow, and then we will start the actual hiring process. The float for the light parade will be completed, and we do have an individual who is going to be Santa this year, so I don't have to do that. And other than that, That's all I have. Be happy to stand for any questions.
Okay, questions?
The only question I had to give was, how are we doing on collections on that?
We
audit?
were actually just discussing that. What did we get just last?
It was around a little over 260 in October, and it's usually 125 to 150, so we're seeing a start to catch up.
It's starting to finally catch up.
Catch up?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I remember years back we had that. Yeah, got away from.
So
it.
we are actually, as far as sending the billing to the billing company and exporting, we're like on the same month that we're working. So as far as that part, we are caught up. It was just, we were behind there for a while because of the changing the billing companies, since the one canceled on us.
Yes.
And that's what put us behind a little bit, but as soon as we got that, now that everything's starting to catch up.
Yeah, we started seeing it again in like mid-July, August, September, and then October is kind of where you can see that it's, yeah, it's
Narrowing
catching
the
up,
gap,
yeah.
I guess, narrowing the gap.
That there was quite a bit of collections and.
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Mr. Bowl?
You know, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Thank you. Means a lot to brave the cold. It's nice to see people here. Thank you. Two things that Mayor Roberts brought up, his invocation. Thank you for the invocation. It was very good, very nice. This time of year, you need to take a breath. You need to step back and take a breath and relax. And, you know, it's the holiday season. You want to, when I said relax. And then another point he made, and I'm going to segue off of that, the commerciality of it. You know, like to see people buy local, shop local, eat local. So
Nice segue.
So there was a pretty good point there. And also I wanted to let people know that this year's Small Business Saturday is this upcoming Saturday. Grocery receipts tax holiday will be Saturday, November 30th. So if you have any shopping to do, please go out and help our businesses, help our local businesses. Thank you.
I didn't even.
Is that the day they get to stick it to the city?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Much, yeah.
Okay.
It was over here.
I'm sorry. Is that all?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We jump back. Commissioner White. Commissioner Gandy.
Man, I am all out of words of wisdom after today's prayer. Be thankful. Thank your family members. Thank your fire, police force. Thank your city staff. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time, your effort, for trying to improve your community. So we thank you for your time. That's why today we're not going to have public comment, because we're all about positivity. So apparently that's not going to fly. But again, thank you for being involved in your community. Thank you for supporting us through some pretty horrendous years there. So let's move forward and keep a positive flow going. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Cook.
We received a list of about 42 requests from our auditor last week, right before we left Albuquerque.
Well, of
So
course.
I was just telling Skip, thank you. His department sent us information, and everyone that we've been sending requests out to has been great about getting us information. And my department's pulling stuff and copying and making spreadsheets like crazy. So we'll continue to work on that with our auditor.
We're still good on, for us being on time, right? On our end.
On our end.
We can't control the others.
On our end, we will make sure it's done.
All right. I didn't like your pause, but I understand. Because this is, hopefully, if we can get this accomplished, then we can become our own fiscal agent again. So, that would be helpful.
Well, yeah, and one of the things they talked about at this DFA conference was that a lot of times it has to do with the types of findings, and if it's more along the lines of repeat findings, that they have a more issue with just if it's a finding that is not a repeat one. So that sometimes has a little more to do with why they ask for fiscal agents.
Gotcha. Understand?
Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity to go to that conference. It was really good.
Awesome.
There was some, we learned something in everything that we went to. I was texting directors. Joe, guess what?
That's good.
We can charge this person to this grant.
Oh, there you go.
So we learned good stuff.
That's what every day is for, is to learn something new.
Yeah. So,
Any questions?
Happy to address any questions.
So, good, thank you. City manager.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, members of the public. Myself, Kevin, and the utilities building staff have been dealing extensively with the public over the past 2 weeks regarding the revised water rate billing that's gone out. We've worked with people. What we expected to happen did happen, which was by revising the rates, it's, previously by giving so much water for $22.89 a month, it masked the leaks that people had. And by charging the correct rates, now people are realizing, oh, my bill may change every month. It's not gonna be that flat rate. So we've worked with people in cases where leaks have been discovered. We'll give the person a time to correct that, get it fixed. So it's going well. It's been difficult, but I appreciate the whole department and the public's been understanding as well. And not to pick on Mr. Kerry Jeter, but I'll use him as an example.
Go ahead,
So,
pick on it.
He has a trailer park on East Avenue D. It has some RVs and a house. And he came in to Kevin and myself and he said, there's no way we spent 103,000 gallons last month. It's mostly older people, blah, blah, blah. So we looked and we analyzed his bill by the hour. And sure enough, during the evening, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, you saw steady usage. And like, well, Mr. Jeter, you've got a leak. He goes, no way. I just had all my plumbing fixed, all the lines replaced. And he was nice enough to reconsider, and he brought a plumber out there. And lo and behold, it was the toilet overflow. 2 gallons, almost 2 gallons a minute. And that adds up. So I would urge the public to check your toilets, especially to see if they're running, to see if that water is set too high in the tank that's going into the overflow. But by and large, it's going well. It's too early to tell how it's going to impact our billing yet. The only other thing I have is I would refer you to my city manager report, which is in front of you. GRTs came out last week. The September GRT number, which was released last week, came in at $875,690.36. That compares with $879,000 for the prior month and $868,000 for the same period last year. So our trailing 12-month average is now $962,000 per month. If you look at the first chart of historical GRT comparisons, you'll see that it seems like $800,000 a month is still kind of a floor for us. Obviously, this doesn't predict the future, but it does show in the last 2 years, we've trended from a low of $800,000 a month to sometimes getting over $1 million. But some troubling things that make me cautiously optimistic. If you look at the second chart, oil continues to be weak. We all look at different factors that might contribute to our future GRT growth, such as rig counts, but I look at oil. If you take the next chart on the next page, so when I say trailing 12-month GRT average, that's very simple. You take the last 12 months of GRT numbers, you divide it by 12, it gives you an average. Well, if you look at this chart, each point on this chart represents 12 months of data. So it's not so important the numbers on the chart, it's the trend where it's going. And if you look, 2 months don't make necessarily a major trend, but things seem to be getting weaker in the oil patch, even with Trump being reelected. So I just think it's time to be cautious, maybe tap the brakes a little bit. And then if you look at the sector breakdown, as we know, oil and gas drilling does not happen in city limits because of taxation changes. We just don't see that even being in the top 10. So our biggest sector in September was retail at 27% of overall GRTs. But we all know whether it's construction, retail, transportation, warehousing, other services, At the end of the day, oil and gas is the economic driver, they're the largest employer overall of this community, so just keeping an eye out, and I'm a little troubled. So time to be a little cautious. And I'll be happy to stand for any questions.
Question?
I think they, city manager, is that if you factor in the HB6 loss, Bill, sometimes I wonder if it's, should we continue to ask the county for the loss for, instead of ask for other gifts and ask for the GRT loss and put it in our back pocket, and then we do what we need to do with it. Because sometimes if we ask for $1 million here and $1 million there, and they'll say, well, we've given you your HB6 bills money back, and here's where we gave it back. And I think more or less maybe, and that's just me personally, other than the rest of the commissioners, if we ask it directly and just get it to where we just put it in our account, if possible, if it's feasible for them to let us have it back, it would help us, because sometimes I think we're asking for too many gifts, and then we're not getting our GRT back, and that is our GRT loss, and it's going to catch up with us, because inflation continues to, cost of goods continue to rise, as we talked about the last city meeting. So that's something big to factor in, is that costs are going to keep going up, and if our GRTs keep going down, then we're going to end up having to eventually make cuts or do away with different things. And I had a short discussion with one of the commissioners. I feel like the train is, when you've been here a long time, you start to fear it again, and you fear that day coming again. And how do you prevent, while you're doing okay, to prevent it from happening again? So,
Or just at least prepare for it.
Prepare for it, yeah, better prepare ourselves for it, but also educating the public as well as our employees and staff is. But I know, like right now, I think Scotty agree with me. November, December, January, and February were slow because it's just cold, and they just don't want to work. I mean, not that they don't want to work; they've already exhausted their budget, and they don't want. It's a liability for them to be out there in the cold anyway. So March kicks off again. So we may see 3 more months of low GRTs, and then March would be kicked back up. But sometimes I worry about us asking for too much from the county versus asking for our HB6 money back.
It would be more predictable that way.
Yeah, it'd be, see, we would, then we could do what we want, then we can budget how we want to budget that money versus them picking different projects. It'd probably be better for us, because if it's bad, if GRTs are low, hey, let's not spend the money, let's just put it in the back pocket. If GRTs are good, then we can release some of them fundings. Just a thought.
So throw a thought out there, so discussing this, because we've had this discussion about oil and gas. But if you take in the 16 years that we've been on this board together, we haven't had the retail that we have now, that we haven't had in decades.
We have Commissioner Bolt to thank for that.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. The words of wisdom and encouragement that come from him has encouraged our community to shop local and brought businesses into our community through the EDC and other factors like that. But we do need to be concerned, but we have a better foothold as far as gross receipts that are renewable, because we have places to shop that are convenient. As our overtime and wages and different things flow away, people will be forced to, or will be more apt to look local for those things. And with the stores like Gibo's, Tractor Supply, a couple of little dress shops, different things like that that are here locally, the different things that are going on, I think there will still be a little more stable than we've been in the past, just based on those factors.
I agree also with new things coming in and that.
And we still have the stuff on the north side of town.
Right, but then again, like what David said, this is our slow time of the year as far as the oil field revenues and that, so I would think that it'd probably be in our best interest to see how the next year starts before we indulge ourselves too heavily in it.
Absolutely. And also with the well-supplied Lovington Amazon store, we should be seeing a kick from that during the Amazon Christmas season. So, maybe we'll be more stable than what we're giving ourselves credit for. So,
I wonder if
Trying to bring
that's,
back
is that considered
positivity.
retail right there? Does that fall under retail? Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah, so that probably might be percentage.
if it's not, my wife trying like crazy too.
Mr. Trio, I would like to talk, one thing, and I know if we had a county representative, just a discussion on, the county is not the recipient of the GRT that House Bill 5 took away. The state was the recipient. The county, by things moving to the county, they effectively only get an additional 0.8% for anything that's in the county than they would get normally, because they get 2/8 of whatever happens inside the county, which is, from the part of the municipality tax also. But and I had a long discussion with the financial manager early on, in that they weren't the recipients. So the state is who we're gonna have to reach out and say, hey, which has been one of the focuses of the municipalities, the municipality league, for the past couple of years. But it's a great idea. Fortunately, the county has been the recipient of a lot from property tax, but they don't collect anything for us.
Well, yeah, I don't.
That used to be ours.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, this, it's point of sale, so it's, like if Alomar used to do all the, some of the stuff for, some of these wells, most likely they're getting it instead of it going back to the office.
The county they don't get GRT. They get, the maximum they can get is 3/8. They get,
But the point being is that it has increased, it hasn't decreased or stayed level, so it has increased, because if that tax is not going back to us, it's going somewhere. You could make the argument it's going to the state, but yet, it's still going to the county, a percentage, so they're getting a percentage of it, because, there's just no way they can double their revenues overnight, just if they're not getting nothing, if they're getting it based off the regular, other than what's being done out there, because still point of sale. So if Midland comes over here and does work in the county, it's point of sale.
no, it's not. That's what I'm saying. They don't collect GRT. The county, the maximum they can get is 3/8%.
Because the last time we did a reading, which came from the Hobbs municipal, the city of Lovington averaged about a little over almost $3 million in lost revenue due to the HB6 bill.
Right. but
I
it's-
do not disappoint, I
Oh, yeah.
disagree with
It's
that.
because the GRTs are broken down into percentages,
Yeah.
and it's a 7% total for everything.
For here
Ours is
local, yeah,
For local, but if they're out in the county,
it's
it's 5% for state, and it's like 0.3875 or something like that.
0.375.
0.375 for the county.
Yeah, but they're
So
still
they're only
making.
getting,
Yeah.
so the piece that we would have gotten is like 1.875.
Mhm.
They're still only getting 0.375.
Yeah.
So they're not getting our 1.5%. Nobody's getting that now.
The state is,
So they have
because they don't
Well,
divvy
they
it
get
out. They get it because they're
Yeah.
no longer paying it out,
Yeah, right.
is the reason.
Yeah.
We're not paying
So,
the stuff from the hospitals and that's all right.
Anyway,
Well, the only reason why, the argument would be is if we were receiving, on average, right now, on average, it's 850,000. I know everything has kind of gone up, but compared to what we usually received before inflation, it was 600, a little over, almost 400,000, 500,000, 600 versus what we receive now. So the revenue's gone up because of inflation for one thing, but also we've lost, inflation versus what we normally receive. Right now, we should always, instead of 800,000, we should be receiving $1 million in revenue.
I don't argue that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I agree that particular bill did rob some of the cities that had a lot of oil field or services that were outside the municipality boundaries. But at the same time, what it also did was any construction, which has become a pretty, a large factor, any construction that is done in the city, let's just say it was by an Albuquerque firm, they would have filed it in Albuquerque and Albuquerque would have gotten a GRT, but now because it's here, then we get the recipient of that. So we really just kind of changed streams. And I do feel that we lost, without a doubt.
Because I know that construction eventually go away unless the housing picks up, because after these two big major construction projects, I don't see
Not much out there.
nothing much out there after that.
But it is a concern, and I want to commend you that, you know, we need to be cautious, and I think the city manager recognized that in his report. We need to be optimistically cautious.
Or cautiously optimistic.
Or the other way. Absolutely. I'm sorry. All right. Anything further, Sam? I'm sorry.
No, sir.
We kind of got off on tangent. I'm
I'll
sorry.
be happy to stand for questions, but
All right. Any other questions?
Oh, and then Russ Haven, did you take care of some of that stuff? that I said?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
We were over water,
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
I use that new well. Yeah.
I was just worried because I know that people are going to be here for the holidays. I want
And
to
the
go
wreaths
out there.
across America is Saturday, the 14th.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
what's up, sir?
It was a bad joke. I'll just keep it to myself.
All right. Ms. Ball.
Yeah, Mayor, Commissioners, so we've moved the planning and zoning meeting, was normally on December 9th, we moved it to December 3rd. There were some items on that agenda that actually needed to be in your meeting, and the only meeting you guys have set for December is on the 10th. So that's why that meeting was rearranged. TPF Capital Fund project for the ADA sidewalk. The widening of Jackson Avenue from 9th to 17th Street. I'm working with Pettigrew and Associates to get the construction bid out. We hope to release that bid in January and award it in February. That way we can start that project as soon as possible and end it before the end of the summer of 2025. I've also submitted for the reimbursement on the payment of the LGRF grant funds. That was the microseal project we did. So that should reimburse the city $163,920. I'm also working with Pettigrew and Associates to complete the designs for the ADA improvements and bike lane on 9th Street from Avenue D to K. Which as soon as that design is completed, I'm hoping right after the first of the year, I'll be able to submit for the reimbursement on that grant as well. Then working with Constructors Inc., we're working to have them remove the traffic control and replace it the day of the electric parade. So they're working with me on that. They're also working up to clean up the pedestrian areas for the parade. The parade will exit Main Street at Washington Avenue and head out east towards the fairgrounds. And the parking lot fairgrounds, I guess, is where they've decided they'll meet to end the parade. That's where people can be picked up and things like that.
Would you tell me the route again, please?
The what?
Would you tell me the route again, please?
Okay, so, the first part of the route.
First part of the route will lead to football field.
Yeah. That was like.
Avenue I.
17th to D,
D,
Main D, north on Main to Washington.
Washington out east to the fairgrounds. So we've been talking with Streets, they're gonna set up the bleachers again, they're in front of the courthouse for that parade. So
So it is going to
huh?
D? It is going to D? I know before it was talked about as far as First Street, making a jog around.
No, they're not gonna do that, it will go from D to Main.
Okay.
And one thing everybody needs to know is it's only blocked on Main Street up to Washington. Once they turn from Washington to the fairgrounds, those intersections
Those
aren't gonna be
intersections
blocked.
aren't blocked, I know.
So, just the public needs to be aware of that.
Washington commercial, because there's wrecks there all the time.
Most of them, they said they're gonna just pull off the side street, get the kids off the trailers or whatever the loads are.
Well, that was another thing I was worried about the other day, just since you brought that.
That was
line.
just what the chamber.
Yeah.
told me.
But I think we need to, isn't there a state law saying that you cannot, on these trailers and these children walking beside the trailers?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Okay, you did discuss that, yeah, because that happened this last thing, and I was like, if somebody gets run over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talked
it's
about
state, it's a state law.
Yeah, they're either to walk the entire parade or they're to ride it. They're not to be jumping back and forth from. We did
And when we
discuss
get
that.
candy,
whole
they're
chamber.
on the curb walking.
There's
Yeah,
no
can't be
law,
going
but
back
it's
and
just a
forth.
safety
Yeah,
issue.
okay, because I noticed that last time, I know there's a law.
Yeah, there's no law about it, but it is just a big safety issue that we discussed with the chamber.
Because I thought they did pass a law because one kid got ran over, more than one kid got run over. They fell off the trailer and got ran over.
Well, that one little girl, I don't know if it was.
Yeah, I just remember that in the books.
Yeah, they threw candy and she was down there to pick up the candy and.
Got ran over, yeah. But I thought they did make the law.
And then the Main Street, so, Constructors Inc. says they plan on doing subgraded base course from Main Street, on Main Street from Washington to Jefferson. That first week, towards the middle of the first week of December, and weather permitting, of course, and then going on to paving that area the following week. So they're hoping by the end of December, up to Jefferson is repaved. And then as soon as they get that area, they want to come back with a top coat and get a bunch of that top layer done so we can open up these intersections. Because of course, until we get that top layer done with the striping correct, we can't open up the signal lights. So, if you have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, Commissioner.
It was I could have swore we were gonna be through with this whole project. Was I delusional? Was I misunderstanding what this?
Well, they
is?
kept saying they're going, yeah.
But
That date
I thought it
keeps
was like
in.
November, right before Thanksgiving.
If you
or
went
December.
to the meetings, that date keeps just moving.
Okay, well, I didn't know if they meant next year,
Well,
November.
I ask every time what year, that's all I wanna know.
I wish I lied to somebody the other day, so yeah, we're gonna be through with this.
Uh-huh.
I said maybe down.
No, it would be into January, definitely still, and we're not, we have
For
not.
what year?
Yeah, they
I'll
keep moving
continue.
it forward on
Right.
it, so it's definitely not into this year, but we're hoping to have to Jefferson done by the end of this year, okay?
Who's the NMDOT person over it now? Who's the NMDOT person over, is it still John?
Yeah, he's
We
still,
just haven't seen him in forever. so-
yeah.
I got tired of the tomatoes and stuff being thrown
I
at me.
know, I told him, we get to hate you twice tonight, one. Poor John.
Anything further, I'm sorry, we're
No, that
We're all
was
in
all.
a
If
good
you have
mood
any
tonight.
questions for me.
Yes, questions, Commissioner? I hear none, so. Counselor, glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
We waited on you, obviously, so.
Yeah, obviously, not that work. So just one small thing that's new, I've been working with Crystal and also a company that's moving some windmill parts for NextEra. Crystal has updated you about maybe a route through the city. Got a copy of their road agreement with the city. It's horrible, not something we need to sign. We're waiting on an actual route. And so sometimes what happens is, knowing NextEra, that may trickle up to you. And they're gonna talk about the holdup. Holdup is basically, we're waiting on a route. Until we get that route, we can't really enter into any kind of agreement with them about what city street they may or may not be using. So, if that comes your way, just a heads up. Secondly, I don't have anything on the action items. I do have a couple of comments on the non-action items as far as, with the housing authority, a couple of things, depending on how the discussion goes. So, I'm happy to answer any questions in the meantime, otherwise.
Questions? Guess we'll wait till that moment.
All right.
All right, thank you, Council. All right, this brings us to a public comment that Mr. Gandy wanted to eliminate, but he just couldn't get it accomplished. This is the time we ask if you have something you would like to talk to the commission about. Please approach the podium, state your name, and tell us what you'd like to hear in 3 minutes or less.
In a positive.
In a positive only. Ms. Garcia, yes, ma'am. You look very nice tonight.
Thank you. In a positive, it's gonna be positive.
Okay.
You still have to state your name, even though I've addressed you, so.
I'm getting it.
Gotcha, okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Estela Garcia. The reason for me addressing the board today is to personally and cordially invite you to a presentation on December the 17th at 6 p.m. at the Fair and Rodeo meeting from the fairgrounds. I will be presenting or requesting for a comeback of the 35th anniversary of the Mexican rodeo. That's the flyer right there that's being passed along that I initiated back in 1990. It's very successful. We tripled the budget. First time ever in the arena under direction. Chairman, I believe it was Troy Ford, Mr. Troy Ford. It was called the Mexican Heritage Celebration in conjunction with the Lee County Fair and Rodeo. We are hoping for this year, and it commenced the beginning of the Lee County Fair and Rodeo like it used to. Unlike the first one, that we had a very, very small budget to work with, this is going to be a mega show. Mega, it's gonna be big. It's a 5 to 6 hour show. And, of course, with it comes, a request of, some money, and quite a bit of money. This 6 hour show is composed of mariachi groups, mega international headliners, a Canadian MC, folklorico dancers, bull riders, bronc riding competition, better known as jaripeo, combined with charreada, which refers to a broader competition, showcasing various horsemanship skills like lassoing and riding, presentation of escaramuza, which means women riding side saddle, which consists of team riding on their horses in a choreographed and synchronized maneuvers to traditional Mexican music. It's beautiful. Family-oriented show. It's a family-oriented show that focuses and displays nobility and pride of my heritage, of our Mexican ancestral ways. It has a lot of meaning to me and is dear to my heart. Thank God for my parents. And also, and for my parents in this great country and the past supporters in making this a success. So, 5 generations have come along since then, and it is with such pride. It is with such pride that I will enlighten the hearts of all. An educational tool of family, unity, and traditional values for the younger generations and instill in the memories of the more to come, which is my ultimate goal. So I look forward to your support and just right along the line of the beautiful invitation, Mayor. It's a beautiful year and it's a beautiful time to do something like this. I appreciate your time, thank you. And I hope you keep that date in mind.
Could you repeat it?
December the 17th.
Thank you.
At 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rosalinda Moreno. I'm the Director of Heart's Desire. So I am here to invite you all for an upcoming open house we are having on December the 13th from 5 to 7. And we would like to basically inform our community what Heart's Desire does for our community and how our community benefits from Heart's Desire by providing, a thrift store with very cheap items in there. Furniture store, we offer recovery programs to our locals here in Lee County. We have a women's recovery home and health. Now, we have opened a cooling and warming station, so when we get below 32 degrees, we're able to offer some temporary shelter for the homeless. And when we cannot house them here in Lovington, we take them to HOP, and that is gonna be our women and children who will be in HOP, where we can give them some temporary housing, we connect with other resources. So I just wanna thank y'all for serving our community and allowing me to come and speak really quick. I know that 3 minutes are quick, so I just got to the point. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at Heart Desire, but we do offer numerous programs besides the storefront. That store is our fundraiser, and it's able to provide all these programs at no cost to our communities and to those who are in need. So I would like to say thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Tim Boyson. What I'd like to say is that I'd like to try to see if this city can get rid of the semis parking in the city limits. And how can we do it? And stop them from pulling into their driveways and changing their oils in a residential area, like Avenue N, and parking on the football parking lot and walking across the street to go to their houses by Carter and Brian Urlacher. And coming into town, going straight down Second Street, all the way through town on Second Street. And that's just an example of what I've seen. There's many, many more. I know there's a way you can do it because other cities do it. There's got to be a way that we can do this and stuff, because all they're doing is ruining our streets and our highways, especially when they're going down 9th Street all the way past D Street and keep on going. And we just got through doing the road out there by the high school. And when they stop and stop by the tennis courts, you know, a semi-tanker stops there, walks across the street, spends 3 or 4 hours at his house. It's getting a little ridiculous. And I think I brought this up before, you know, in the last few years. But, and, you know, stopping the 10-ton, 20-ton dump trucks from filling up at Valero and ruining that parking lot. You know, when we have a brand new truck stop out here. And so that's what I would like to see. You know.
That's it. I'll let you guys take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boydston, and I'm going to assist Mr. Boydston because he caught me the last meeting, and I've made it no secret, I think, that I would like to see us take the truck traffic out of our city, except local deliveries. Our streets, as we have seen, cannot handle the truck traffic. I've seen everything he stated. I witnessed, and I would assume that probably everybody in here has witnessed. Over the past 2 years, we've discussed it several times. We've offered up options. The city manager and I had a discussion, and you know, even if we help or the city were to assist in making a park and ride, I don't particularly like that terminology, but at least everybody would understand it. And several months ago, it could have been more than a year ago, I had this discussion with the local EDC, stated what I would like to see, and it was brought to my attention that we didn't have fueling opportunities outside, or not many, outside of the city limits, but the new projects in town have eliminated that. And so it's my question to the commissioners. I would like to put it on as a discussion item our next meeting. And I asked the the police chief, and he has no knowledge I was going to do this. Can you give a brief discussion as far from the code enforcement aspect of this? I know it's been a trying situation for them.
It is, they're continuously contacting these truck drivers. I don't know if it's they cite them and they go and pay their fines, and they're minimal fines, $30, whatever, and they just keep on doing it. Maybe I need to sit down with Patrick and see if there's some other avenue to be able to hit them, deeper in their pocketbooks. Because law enforcement, I mean, as far as the football field, that's private property. And they've talked to us, and I said, as soon as you see them on there, just call a tow truck. Like, you don't have to go hunt them down. That's on your property.
Do we have a tow truck in the area that can?
Oh,
okay.
I go, if you don't want them on there, then it's your problem.
They park on my property too, and
Yeah.
so, maybe I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Lake County Record has a semi truck, tow truck.
Private property.
Yeah, people come down. But you tow a couple of those trucks and you may get a point across.
All right. Thank you, Chief, appreciate it. If there's no opposition, I'll add that to the discussion, and we'll kick this can a little further down the road and see if we can get something accomplished. City manager, you'll make sure that we put that on.
Yes, sir. And I'll get a copy of the Hobbs ordinance as a comparison as well.
I think that's a great idea. All right. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt public comment. If there's anyone else, I certainly welcome you to the podium. Seeing no one move, moves us to our non-action items. First one, I believe, Ms. Brock.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Laura Brock with the City of Lovington Animal Protection Services. This evening, I'm here to talk to you about the animal shelter and preparing for the future growth. After collaborating with engineers who are designing a new facility, we believe it would be beneficial for both the shelter and the community to remove the mobile home currently on the property. This will make it possible to incorporate commercial dog kennels with county funding to address the immediate need for more dog housing. I would like to propose some options and kindly ask the commission to consider them as we move forward. The shelter mobile home. No one has lived in since mid-January of 2024. The hope was to use it to bring a veterinarian to town and provide living accommodations as part of that package. We had to hire a company to headhunt for a vet. We were successful in getting one to assist with spay neuter and now doing clinical visits. Feedback from the vet on housing accommodation. No vet wants to live where they are practicing because then you can't get away from your work.
What? Very.
Yes.
What kind of deal is that? Not everybody lives at work?
So in June, with the help of the police chief, we got a quote, was given for a remodel of the whole trailer. It is 25 years old and needs remodeled due to wear and tear over the years. The total quote was for $77,348 for a full remodel. Now, the urgent needs, in order to make it livable, is your bathroom, which is coming in around $6,600. Your laundry room, which is around $2,000. The kitchen is one of the biggest ones with the replacing the cabinets that are falling apart and stuff like that is $10,000. Appliances, if we were gonna put appliances for the kitchen and laundry room, that's running around $3,400, with a total of urgent needs to make it livable is around $22,142. So that leads to the recommended, would you like to come in at this time, Chief?
As far as the bathrooms, I mean, the floor, they were.
Rotted out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your particle, they got a little water on them.
You can fall through if you're not.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Recommendations, or that, here's some choices. We can go out for bid to sell the trailer, the mobile home. We can move it to another site for city employees for housing. We could move to another site, possibly for training for fire or police. We could keep and put in the master plan for the animal services employee housing, doing urgent remodel with plans for future improvements also. So these are just discussion items and kind of some ideas for y'all to think about. And if you have some feedback on some stuff that you would like to know right now, I am in the process of getting quotes as far as moving water and what it costs to move the mobile home, the electricity to get it disconnected, to get it prepared to move, if that is the choice.
Where are you going to move it in the interim? Let's just say that we get stuck on which way we want to go. You're wanting to move it. Do you have a location?
Well, it depends on what we want to use it for. If we wanted to use it for fire, police and training, we have the property north of town where the old swimming pool is. We have all that land that's just north of that. It could be moved out there possibly. And if we're going to go out for a bid, then we possibly wouldn't need to move it until the bid went through and then that'd be part of
I think
it.
we ought to auction it off just with everything else. So whoever wants it, take it as is. I mean, if we can, Patrick, I don't know.
Do you mean wait till the auction or do like an RFP?
Or I think the auction is just right around the corner.
Probably gonna be in the spring.
Spring. But you're not doing no construction. When do you plan on doing any type of construction out there?
It will take, that's coming up where I'm have to get a master plan to do that and kind of go with, I gotta figure out some costs and kind of the direction of the trailer. What the hopes is to bring in a commercial dog kennel, 1 or 2 structures and put it where that's at. So it would need to, it takes approximately 3 months from my understanding from other communities that once you order one of the structures for it to actually get here to be placed. In that meantime, you have to prep that area. So it's gonna take a few months. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight, but it would definitely happen probably before the spring.
And bear in mind where the trailer sits is exactly the spot where we want to put the temporary housing that was funded with $500,000 from the county. So.
That's my question is, when do you want to move it ASAP?
Once we get everything rolling, yes.
Right.
It
And
kind
I
of,
was just wondering because you put a couple ideas out there.
sure.
And as far as with fire or police or whatever, how does that fit into their funding, their budget as far as fixing this up? You know, the money that you're gonna have to come up with, is that viable for you to be able to do it? Or are we better off just putting it up for auction and trying to sell it?
When they move it, it's probably gonna be just as expensive as getting it fixed.
Right,
We're looking at probably at least $50,000.
right.
So,
Yeah, well, I had people quote me, a mover quote a person, $8,000. And that's why we brought the mobile home in here for a variance, because to move it just 4 feet over from where it was, for them to come, hook it up, move it, just a few feet, $8,000.
Right.
I was hoping to have that to you tonight, but the gentleman didn't get back to me. I do have a quote.
And that's why I said
I
I'm
want
just,
to give you a
I'm
quote.
just putting that out there because I know you did offer some options.
Yes, sir.
And I just, if somebody says, well, it's a great idea, we should get it, you gotta take into consideration what's your budget, how you gonna fix it up, what's it gonna cost?
Correct.
All these things have to be taken into consideration.
And when we come back for an action item, I can have all that for you, that if it went to, and they may say, no, we don't have the budget, because that's not something they
Right.
budgeted for.
Right.
So, but then I can give you the budget on, you know, if we were to move, do we want to do an RFP, sell it as it is, and that would be part of the moving expense. I mean, there's certain things that the city may be responsible for, the mover may be responsible for, when we put that in RFP.
And maybe if, I'm not telling, I'm just asking that maybe if you get with the other departments and see if it's something that they're interested in,
Okay.
that way there we know for a fact that whoever's interested in, they're gonna have to understand it's gonna cost money to fix it up and everything else, so. That way there we can kind of narrow our window on what we're looking at as far as options.
Yes, sir.
I think, in all due respect, is that when you start going that route and you start providing housing, then your liability becomes like that, because now we're providing housing for one, and everybody's on one house. I prefer just to get rid of it, auction it off, and be done with it. I think it'd be at no cost to the city.
So I know we were talking about some things like, you know, like for the wastewater for a lab and stuff that we've been putting out there before, talking about stuff, so I don't know if it could be utilized. I don't really know what it looks like, so I don't know. but just ideas, like you said, and it may be.
It might cost less to use
Right.
that for a
If
while.
you come back and say, you know what, nobody has any budget money for it, let's sell it, then, yeah.
Are we pretty sure of the age? Is it 25 years old?
Yes, it's, December 4th of 1999 was the manufacturer date that I went and took a picture of this morning.
Well, I mean, that is probably exceeded its useful life, so, I mean.
The roof is in
Really,
great
have you
shape.
seen some of the other stuff in town?
Well,
That's considered young.
I know. Anyway, I would just say, you're welcome. My opinion is you're welcome to talk to the other departments, but if no one wants it, I think you're hearing, I can't see putting a lot of money into an old, mobile home that even then may not be something that we can use, so.
Correct.
But anyway,
That's fine.
I RFP it out, just.
Get done.
The sooner the better, have the most money for it, let it go.
and tell them they have to come and get it.
Yeah, and you have 30 days.
And they have to have a deadline of when
You
it
have
has to
30
be
days.
on.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy,
Yeah.
let's just get rid of $1,000 before you get that.
But we're taking your money first, so.
You know, and Laura, that process takes a while, so I would recommend us go out for RFP as soon as possible, because it may be 90 days by the time we get rid of it.
Correct.
And so the sooner the better you start the process of RFP for that structure being removed, the better off we are, or the better off you are in the city.
Put it on the next
Do you
agenda
know
in
if-
December.
Do you know if it was bought with city funds or state funds?
Pardon?
Do you know if it was bought with city funds or
By
state
the
funds?
vet that used to live.
It was bought by the city bought the vet clinic, when they bought it, it was there.
Yeah.
On the property,
Oh.
so the city paid
Probably
for
moved it
the
in
vet
like
clinic.
Okay.
With her dogs.
I do not believe we used any funding for that, we didn't go out for capital monies or anything, we bought it back.
That makes it easier. If it's not state funds, it makes it easier.
Oh, yes, then, yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just saying it'd be great, an asset for the fire department. They go out there and do a little training on it.
Well, the problem is, then you gotta clean up the metal and all the other debris.
It's a lot less than it was. Not only that, but nowadays, EPA, it has, you have to go, every house structure, you gotta have it go in and tested for asbestos. You gotta have all the wires stripped out. If it's got shingles, all the shingles have to be stripped off of. Truthfully, by the time you spend all that money, you're just cheaper to just demolish it.
Well, accidental.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you don't.
It was
honestly, you can sell for $1,000, somebody else can sell.
Oh, and they
we're
have to
good
get
without
it, yes, absolutely.
doing that
Money
stuff,
ahead.
it's $10,000 fine right like that.
Cheater said you haul it all free.
From the piece of property it's sitting on.
In December?
So,
Action item?
that's gonna cost us another $5,000 or whatever, and wages and stuff like that.
Well, the hospital received 4 free trailers that cost $1 million to get them into place, so that's what we're. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll put it on the, in December for an action item to go out for the RFP. Sound great? Anything else?
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Counselor, I believe you have something on the non-action item. Do we want to present or?
No, it's just, I mean, if you had some questions about, where we are with the, housing. So I think, and I'll have to go back and take a look. I know that the, housing authority, sometimes they would ask me some questions, sometimes they would just do things on their own, and, you know, we kind of get surprised by what took place out there. So I've got a call in to see exactly what the title company would need. We need to make sure that if it was the housing authority that is the owner of that property, which that's my understanding right now, then we need to figure out, does the housing authority still exist? Was it, what happened to it? Who's on the board? You know, that would be the entity that would have the authority to transfer that out. And so just because our name is at the front of that, at the front of the city, doesn't mean that David can then just go ahead and sign anything. And so it could be an issue where the title company is taking a look at, you know, maybe who that defaults to, but I'm still trying to get an answer to figure it out. So My understanding was at the time, the city was not in the position to keep managing. There were a number of different issues, and so I think the housing authority decided it was in its best interest just to let those go. So I could be wrong, but that's my understanding of why it happened.
So it's my understanding that you can see through all the resolutions, that the only thing that the transfer was not consummated by signature of the deeds over to Eastern Regional New Mexico Housing Authority. For whatever reason, it was never done, and now they're wanting us to kind of consummate that. And before I sign over the deeds to 50 properties, I thought it would be a good idea to bring it back. I think Commissioner Trujillo and Commissioner Gandy were here when that happened back in 2015, but they got a little upset when they thought it was going to be an action item. I'm like, no, I just want to bring it before my council and my city attorney. So we're being transparent about this because it's already been an action item and it was passed as a resolution. And notice in the resolution though, it never clearly says to sign over title to. They say transfer, and it says that the Eastern Regional New Mexico Housing Authority has the right to practice or to have a project here in town, but it's a little ambiguous about signing over titles and deeds.
So we're just gonna send them the title. It's basically what the resolution
It's 50
says.
properties on having a P and Q and third and fourth. And they're telling me that this was, I have to sign on the dotted line because they've been managing them since 2015, but technically they're not deeded to them.
Right. That's what I said. The resolution said transfer them the title.
Transfer?
Yeah, so we just send them to them.
Well, if you look at the resolution, I think at that time, and Scott, you were mayor, you signed. I know that's a long time ago.
You signed what?
There was an ordinance in place that prohibited somebody else from coming in other than the Lovington Housing Authority doing low-income housing for whatever reason. And so my understanding of this resolution is that it says the city is going to waive that so that somebody else other than the Lovington Housing Authority can come in, and that's why Eastern came in. And so what I'm trying to get is the exact specific reason the title company says David has to sign now to get the rest of this deal consummated, depending on who had title, who had authority to sign, because I would understand, and I think I went to one meeting in my entire 20-plus year career doing this with the housing authority, and so I don't know what they have as far as a resolution to transfer that. I don't really know, but I'm assuming the title company would have that for us. So what I'm saying is, I need to take a look to satisfy that David is the right person and David has the authority to do that. So we just need to figure out where we are, because they're two separate entities. So, and I don't know, do you have a different understanding of the resolution? That was my understanding, is we're just, because it says all these whereas, now be it resolved, the city of Lovington hereby consents to the expansion of the area over which Eastern has jurisdiction to include the area within territorial boundaries of the city. So we were just letting Eastern come in and do their thing with low-income housing. So,
yeah, I would be willing to bet that if you'd asked me last week, I might have remembered, but this week.
Yeah, I know.
It's just outside of that realm of what I can remember.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing when it came across is that, Charles Kelly, when he was here, he had directly told me that was our property, city's property. And when that came across and James was here, and I was still, to this day, I'm still confused about all that took place, because I said, well, that's our property, if we're gonna sign it over, we need something in return.
Right.
And we just gave it to them, and I was like, how's that? And they said, well, something like you were saying, we didn't have no jurisdiction or something. I really didn't understand it fully, but.
I think what was happening is the city was spending so much time dealing with issues, just for example, as far as eviction. And I know the last round that I dealt with was with Paul, and there were a number of issues that would come up that the city had to follow, in addition to state law, but also because we got other types of funding from the US government, other things that we had to do. And we just got into this mess where we couldn't get people out. And people that, residents or neighbors that own private property next were having issues, problems, and complaints. And so it was a very time-consuming, frustrating effort to manage that. And I think that point in time, the city said, and the housing authority said, let's get somebody else in here. That's all they do. And then it's out of our hair. We don't have to worry about it. So.
And I would point out, if you look at, in your packet that I left copies up there for you, in page 2 of the letter from the law firm to the US HUD, on the second page, number 1, it says Eastern is entitled under the laws of the state of New Mexico to accept title to the housing project. They may be entitled. I'm just curious about the intent of the commission at that time. Did they just want to transfer the project to Eastern New Mexico for the management of it? Or did they actually want to sell the ground underneath the houses to Eastern New Mexico? And it's, that's why I brought this up, because I don't want to be signing 50 deeds over to them. And
The sentence right under says they acquire any housing project and operate.
Yeah, so
And acquire.
I just don't know what the intent was at the time.
And I think that was more or less the intent at the time, somebody else take it over, but not take all the deeds with them, because I just don't see anybody sitting in the management seat would just give somebody else 50 deeds.
I can tell you in no uncertain terms that they certainly feel that they're entitled to those deeds. Because when they thought it was going to be an action item, I got a call from Santa Fe.
This was how many years ago?
9 years ago.
And then just now,
Yeah. Because now they're wanting to revamp this project and do that.
Right.
Yeah. I remember.
So we do, as of now, we still have 50 units.
They exist, but they're managing it, yes, sir. And they're low income renters.
Block houses.
I'm just reading on paragraph 4 here, subject to final approval. Did we ever get that stating that we had final HUD approval for this?
They passed their own resolution, which may not be attached here.
I don't see it, so I.
As far as the housing authority?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's one of the things that we have.
Yes, they did. They had a resolution to approve acceptance of the transfer. I can give it to you.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that we have that, that's all.
And just legally, I don't know if transfer means sale. Sale of property.
Sounds like transfer is a gift.
Right, and I don't think there was any money involved. I don't think they paid for anything.
No.
I was gonna say, I think we're at the time we're YouTubing the meetings. You may go back on YouTube and see if you can try to see what was discussed during that meeting. I think in 2015, we were doing broadcasting live. I think, I was gonna look it up right now, but I can look it up later.
Yeah, our resolution was passed February 23rd, 2015. But I just wanted to bring it up to the commission and to Patrick because they've approached me to kind of, as he said, consummate this transaction.
Stiff arm you into handing over some.
Blame study.
Yeah, my name's on it.
Eastern does have to own and operate the housing project.
well, the authority to,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean they have the ability, or you just handed it up. It's quite unclear. What's the next item that you foresee? Obviously, trying to get this cleared up and having Patrick work on it.
Wait for Patrick to weigh in and, I know the title company's gonna be calling me pretty soon that they want this done. Caesar also called me. But like I said, I just wanna make sure everybody's good with it before I do this, because it's 50 properties.
I think part of it is gonna be to take a look at what the title company is relying on to say, hey, David needs to sign. And so that's what I've asked, I'll go back and ask for that from them, not from David, but from them, is to say, why do you think David needs to sign? What is it that you're relying on? Let's take a look at it and see, there may be some other documents we don't have.
Correct.
And so that's what we need to take a look at. The other thing is that, my understanding was when, Eastern came and did a presentation, they also asked if we had any, they wanted to build these new apartments. I don't know what the status of that is, but they also inquired about what the city would like to see happen with those properties. And so I think now would be a good time to address that issue while they're waiting for us to sign. And I don't know if there's any critical deadline that's popped up after 9 years. I don't know. But that's another thing that I think we at least need to consider is where do we want to go with what's going to happen with those properties if these other apartment or these other dwellings are developed. So. A park, I don't know. Yeah, something.
Well, then are they gonna sell those houses and then we no longer have a low-income housing properties?
Well, that wasn't
Which
what
is-
when they did their presentation, they want a new, and the way I understand it, or stood it that evening, is they were basically gonna give them back to the city, and then we could, whatever, so.
Yeah, demolish, yeah.
Well, demolish, renovate.
No, I think they were gonna plan to redevelop them themselves as normal housing.
Oh, is that the way you understand it? I didn't understand it that way
He
at
told
all.
me they wanted to get rid of it, and they were gonna replace the 60 units, was gonna replace the 50. And I said, so you're wanting all this money for 10 more units? And he goes, or maybe 20. They don't want to use those anymore. They want to get rid of them.
But what's gonna be?
They don't want to renovate them either.
No, they don't.
They want to sell
And he even talked to me about tearing down Avenue R and rebuilding it. And right here it says they cannot own or operate an apartment complex.
I mean, you have your work cut out for you.
It shouldn't be too hard. We just need to, what are the documents you're relying on? Give us a copy, let us take a look. And that's the
And
next
then tell
step.
Caesar to call me, I'm his favorite.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you for your.
Thank you. All right, next to, I guess this is Shannon's, discuss the appointment or reappointment to the library board.
Yes, I was talking to Debbie Mitchell, and she did inform me that Stephanie Kamick, who has been on this seat, is going to expire January of 2025, January 31st, and she would like to be considered for reappointment. In the meantime, we're going to have another vacancy. Donna Porter is stepping down. And she would like, we need a replacement for that position. So we are advertising in the paper for that and on our website. And further, the Senior Citizens Board, Faye and I were visiting about those positions that are terming at the end of 2024. And there's 4 of them: Timothy Boyston, Mary McClure, Alicia Bixby, and Mary Randolph. They're all expiring the end of December. So she's gonna check and see who wants to be reappointed. There may be some positions there that others might want to consider. But we don't know at this time on those. But we do have one vacancy.
Is excited, and she would like to be reappointed for sure.
Oh, I don't think that's a problem.
So we are advertising on the library board. If we're still looking at the
Keep us apprised. All right, thank you. All right, brings us to our action item.
All right, we're ready to go to work now.
Let's go.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-110, variance for setback on placement of a manufactured home at 806 West Madison Avenue.
Okay, we have a motion, is it? Sorry, and a second to consider this resolution.
Mayor and Commissioners?
Okay.
We have a request for, setback on a mobile home that they want to place. It is not there yet. They do want to place this. The problem was, of course, it doesn't meet setbacks. We did go to planning and zoning and discuss a couple of options, different ways to place the mobile home. Turning it the opposite direction and facing the front door towards 8th Street instead of Madison would actually give them no room to actually put in a storage building in the rear yard, because there wouldn't be enough room in the future. So this option gave them the best, and the owners want this option the most too, because then they say their front door faces Madison and not 8th Street, which is a very busy street from the school traffic. It would be a 7-foot setback instead of a 15, which is what the requirement is on a side street, on your side yard. But then the property line is also 9 foot 6 inches away from the back of the curb. So, there's not an issue with it being a fire hazard or a health hazard in the area. Did you have any questions for me or the owners?
Well, normally, I look to see Mrs. Price sitting here today, so normally she's the one that has an input, but, what was it?
Option 1, which is this one, not this
No. If they did one, it's this one,
It's the
not
side
this
one.
one.
Yeah, option 1 was the side yard setback of 7 feet.
Yeah.
And option 2 was a backyard setback, which that's the one that planning and zoning, when we discussed it, they really weren't for that one, because in the future, they would not be able to have a storage yard with the backyard being that small, because the storage building has to be 10 to 15 feet away from the mobile home. And so they would, and the only place a storage building can go is in your backyard. So it would kind of leave out where they could place storage. So it would limit their future ways to develop the property. And this option gives them the best option for any kind of future development and a big backyard, which they wanted.
And really, the only infraction, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
the only infraction is the required 15 foot on a side street. And it's gonna be 7 foot.
Yes, that's what the variance is for.
Right. I was going to, yeah, are the property owners here, assuming?
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome to come and kind of, whatever.
If you want to say anything.
If you want to, you're not required to.
Well, no, you say everything.
Okay. Commissioners,
If you have more questions.
I was gonna say, do we have any questions?
Is zone A or zone B there?
This is zone B,
Okay. All right.
and it's a double wide, so it would be allowed in a zone A even,
Okay, that's fine.
because it's single family
I
home.
just hate the variance.
All of them.
I hate all of them. Yeah. Prejudice like that.
You know,
I'm really surprised because the planning and zoning doesn't like variances
No.
either.
we don't.
Well, obviously, there was,
But it's an empty lot. It's got a house in it, so, hey, there you go.
So we have to state what option we're voting for, or
Planning and zoning recommended option 1. If you want to change that, I'll have to rewrite the resolution.
Okay, well,
I just don't know what,
I think Mr. Gandy will have to restate his whatever to include, or to choose option 1 as the recommended, or choose the recommendation of the planning and zoning, however you want to state it.
Mr. Mayor, can I make an amendment to Resolution 2024-10110, variance for the setback on placement of manufactured home at 806 West Madison Avenue for option 1, as recommended by planning and zoning.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for this resolution. Any further discussion?
I hate variances.
We know. All right. Dennis.
Thanksgiving, you better listen to them. You said that during the break.
Don't be very
I'm trying to be thankful, but man, there's just some things in life I can't do.
Remember, you said positive.
I know what I said. I mean,
He's positive that he hates variances. Okay, Shannon, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry,
Commissioner Gandy,
with much dismay, I'm gonna vote yes. Whoa.
Wow.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes.
Yeah, that too. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-111. Authorize acceptance of funds from Lee County for Lovington Animal Shelter improvements. Laura, okay, wait, what? It says Laura Black. The money for that personally, right?
No, she's talking about it.
She's the one speaking.
Oh, okay, she's talking about it. Okay, all right. Making sure I
Good
understand.
evening again,
Okay,
Mayor.
all right, hang on.
Go ahead.
Got a motion and a second for consideration of this resolution.
Laura Brock with the City of Lovington Protection Services, Mayor, Commissioners. This money was granted to the City of Lovington, $250,000 from Brad Weber, District 2 Vice Chair Discretionary Funds, and $250,000 from Dean Jackson, District 1 Commissioner Discretionary Funds for operating staff and equipment and improving the City of Lovington's animal shelter. This was discussed earlier, part of that plan for the commercial kennels.
Okay, questions? Further discussion? Hearing none. Shannon?
Commissioner Gandy,
Why don't I go first again?
It's your night.
I'm so positive. Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-112. Approve RFP for design of ADA sidewalks and ramps on South Second Street.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Consideration of this resolution.
Mayor, Commissioners, this is the bid we put out for, it is actually for the design of the ADA sidewalks down Second Street for the CDBG project, right? So we did receive one bid, was from Pettigrew and Associates. We did go ahead and rate those. We did do the ratings because with the CDBG, you still have to do the scoring even though it was only one. Their scoring was adequate and, well, actually better than adequate. It was above average. So the scoring made them, I can't remember what the scoring was. Did you? Oh, yeah. So the scoring, they had 250 points, possible out of 285 on their scoring. But the meeting we had with our procurement officer and the committee that was looking at the bid said it would really be up to you whether you wanted to award them or put it back out for rebid. So it is up to you guys. Do you want to award Pettigrew? They had all the qualifications for the bid. Or do you want to put it back out? Putting it back out to bid, of course, would be putting the project further behind. So
And I would note their bid did not include a price.
no, because it was just a submittal for proposal, so they
Right.
did not have to include a price. No, if we would have got any bids, it wouldn't have a price.
So what other companies typically bid or?
Southern Miller.
Bohanna Houston, we actually sent the bid out to several different, and we only got one back. So
But it really, it's not a bid. It's a,
it's a proposal.
it's a, right, a request for proposal.
A request for proposal, sorry.
The question is, do we want to send the proposal? If we accept their proposal, do we want to send that out for bid? Type of thing, but.
Well, if you accept this, then we go into negotiations with them on the cost,
Right,
and we they have a contract, they do the design.
Right.
And then they would also help us with the bidding process of getting the construction done.
Exactly, so.
Yeah.
Any questions? All right, let's move on. Shannon?
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes.
All right, Ms. White?
Finance report.
No.
Did you just,
Go ahead.
Sorry, you have a question?
Do we need to say?
Yeah, I
you
didn't,
need to say you awarded it to your assessment.
well, it says to approve. It was a consideration to approve, so.
I don't think they had the name in the.
No.
Nope. Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I read the proposal, so I just assumed, never mind, okay,
I know we need to change our.
all right.
Take back this.
Where, Mr. Gaines, you get started over again, I'm so sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment to my previous motion of resolution 2024-11 to approve RFP for design of ADA sidewalks and ramps on Second Street, bid awarded to Pettigrew and Associates. Correct?
That's correct. Okay, motion and a second. All right. I'm assuming no further discussion. So. Right, we've already, we're gonna vote again, so.
We practice over.
Yeah, we're pressed.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yep, yes.
All right, sorry, we jumped ahead, but Commissioner White.
I'd like to make a motion to pay bills.
All right,
Second.
we have 1 good second to.
We just had 1 week of bills because we didn't run any while we were out of town for most of last week. So
Oh, well, then
it's a short list.
piece of cake, that's right. We should be out of town more, we'd save a lot more money.
Well, we just do the list for tomorrow.
I don't know, there's one for 183.
Next report will not be.
I did notice that I had 2 on here that were on this last billing cycle as well.
Which is that?
The vendor 15050 EMS management and consultant. So that should only be once a month. And it's the exact same price, and it's what the way they do it is it's a percentage of what they bill.
Oh, so that one might have been correct.
And then the other one was Lovington Auto Supply for the fire K-12 for 212, the repair kit, and it was on both of them again. I just didn't know if that was like, you don't want to pay them twice.
I'm gonna make sure we didn't pay them twice because anything that was paid last time should have been included in this. So I'm gonna check on that. Make sure that.
With the wastewater, they bought harnesses. How many did they buy?
I'd have to find that
I
out.
know they took safety training and I know they wanted every one of their workers to have one. So I don't know the number.
Do you know the number of the safety harnesses? That. The number of safety harnesses.
Oh, the number, it was, 60?
60.
Yeah, that's for every vehicle. I mean, them, water and
It might have
wastewater.
been water and wastewater.
Water and wastewater, and then lanyards and lifelines. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
Okay, so why didn't that get taken earlier today? Because we knew about it Thursday. The double on the fire.
No, no.
Yeah. we
This
knew
was,
about it.
this was a
We
new
knew about it
list.
in Albuquerque.
This was a new list that was run, that didn't have the dates from the last report date that on it. So that's why I'm checking to see if why they're still included, because the date should have included any payments that were before on the last report. So we're gonna check on it.
Should say it should be checked out earlier today.
Well, Mr. Miranda, under normal circumstances, I would state that paying $183,000 for a dumpy little house on a small piece of land was very unreasonable and would probably not go along with it. But since it is, first of all, since the county decided to pay for it,
Yes, sir.
yeah, then we'll waive that.
Painful but necessary.
Painful, yeah. I'm just thinking, next time that we have something in the way, let me know, I'll go purchase it.
Easy now.
Yep.
Easy.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Easy now. There's no rumors that go around about you might be true.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Richie's a veteran. He said, "Sit, I'll run the next, I'll take care of the
Well,
park."
when they showed that, I was like, well, I'll pick that up, throw it on somewhere, and I don't think you would have made the trip, though. Nothing? All right, we're good. All right, Shannon?
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
All right, with that, the items of the, agenda are exhausted, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Not.
Not really.